guys, Dana here, and today we're going to talk about shaping the gussets of our socks. So when we talk about the gussets, what we're talking about is this triangular formation here on either side of the sock. And the significance of the gusset is that it provides stretch. It allows the sock to move with our feet when we step up and down. It helps when we're pulling the sock on over our foot to get it over our heel. And it also accommodates an instep. So if you have a slightly higher instep, you might find that a gusseted heel fits you better than, say, a short row heel. So here's how we're going to shape the gussets. So now we've got our sock. We've just turned the heel. And we have the right side of the work facing us. So as per the directions in the pattern, what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit across my heel stitches. Now, if you're using DPNs, you're going to find it helpful to have all of your heel stitches right now on one needle. And then after we've picked up the heel gussets, or after we've picked up the gusset stitches, to divide the stitches evenly, so the gusset stitches and half the heel stitches are on one needle, and the gusset stitches and half the heel stitches are on a second needle, with your instep stitches across the third needle, if that makes sense. So we've knit across our heel stitches. Now we need to pick up stitches along this side of the heel flap. When we were knitting the heel flap, we slipped the first stitch in every row. And the reason that we did that is because it gives us these really handy little V's at the end of each row that we're going to use to pick up the stitches with. So you see all these little V's? Those are going to be stitches. So you should have, I'm working the smallest size, so I should have 14 of these little V's. So here's how I'm going to pick up the first stitch. I'm going to go in through the V. I'm going to wrap my working yarn and pull it through. That's one gusset stitch picked up. Then I'm going to go in through the next V. And then in through the third. So I'm just going underneath both legs of that slipped stitch, wrapping my working yarn around it as if to knit, and pulling it through. And again, I'm going through both legs of that slip stitch, wrapping my working yarn around and pulling it through. And I'm going to keep on doing that until I have picked up the right number of stitches, which should be one per slip stitch. Okay, so now I'm back to the beginning of our round, which is the instep stitches, and this is where we're going to join for working in the round again. So now I'm going to knit across my instep stitches. So I have managed to twist a few of my instep stitches because I switched needles. So if you see me knitting a few of them through the back loop, that's why I'm doing that. It's because a couple of them are twisted. Okay, so this brings us back to the other side of the heel flap, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to pick up the slip stitches, in my case 14 of them because I'm knitting the smallest size, on the side of the heel flap. So I'm just going to go underneath both legs of that slip stitch, wrap my working yarn around, and pull it through. If you pick up one more or one less than the pattern calls for, that's really not a big deal. Sometimes I pick up a couple of extra ones in the corner by the instep so that I don't have a little hole in my gussets, because when we decrease, the next step is going to be decreasing the gusset stitches. It doesn't matter, you can always hide an extra picked up stitch in the decreases. No one will ever know that you picked up an extra gusset stitch except for you. It can be your own little secret. So that brings us back to the heel stitches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit across the heel stitches. I'm going to knit across the gusset stitches that I've already picked up to get me back to the beginning of the round. Okay, so now that we're back to beginning of round, we are ready to begin shaping the gussets. So now that I had 16 heel stitches left from after my heel turn, and then I picked up 14 or 15 gusset stitches on either side of my heel. I have way more than the 56 stitches that I originally cast on. So what we need to do now is shape the heel gusset, create this triangular shape by decreasing every other round until we get back to the original number of stitches that we had cast on for the sock. So we're at the beginning of round, which is our instep stitches. So I'm going to knit across the instep stitches. So I'm at the gusset stitches, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit one, slip, slip, knit. There is our left leaning decrease. Then I'm going to knit across the rest of the heel stitches. So now I'm to the last 3 heel stitches. So I'm going to knit 2 together, to decrease on this side of the gusset, and knit 1. Now I'm back to the beginning of round. So I will, for the second round, I will simply knit all stitches. So I'm back to round 1 of the shaping the gussets. So I'm going to do another decrease round. So I'm knitting across my instep stitches. And then I'm going to start my decreases. So following the directions, I've knit across the instep stitches. If I had a marker, I would have slipped it, but I don't. Then I knit 1, slip, slip, knit. And I knit to the last 3 stitches. So here I am at the last 3 stitches, so I'm going to knit 2 together and then knit 1. So to do the gussets, you just repeat those 2 rows, 1 decrease row followed by a plain knit row until you have 28, 32, 36, however many stitches you began with. So in total you would have 58 or 56, 64, 72, 80 stitches. And then once you've completed the gussets, the foot is just knitting like normal as per the pattern until you get to the desired foot length. So if you have any questions about shaping gussets, please leave a comment below. Email me at hello@danagervaisdesigns.com. Find me on the internet. I'm Knit-A-Lot924 on social media everywhere, or stop into the hashtag Sock Virgin Facebook group, and myself or another knitter will help you out. So that's it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.